I have two examples. And these examples are relating to an ongoing conversation, mostly about connecting with other gamers. We've been talking about things that are tangential to this, like the complexity or relative complexity of a game, or what effect the GM ruling or exercising their right to narrate an outcome and so on, what effects these all have. But they've come up in the context of, do we really understand each other when we talk to each other, or how can we better understand each other when we talk to each other, and how to spread this awareness that these differences are genuine, they exist, and that a lot of conversations can happen at the same time, but the meanings pass each other like ships in the night, and you thought you were having one conversation and the person you were talking to thought they were having another. This happens. You can go online, look at video responses, look at Hangouts, and you can see it in motion. You can see the people talking around an idea, and you can really notice it when that's not happening, when they're actually connecting. How can we better spread awareness about the possibility that our perspective on a thing might be very different from someone else's? And I've had two experiences over the last little while, last month or so, which have further enhanced my confidence in this point of view. And they're really simple. My wife and I decided that we wanted to do something like a hobby, but not just with the two of us, like to join a group and do something. And we couldn't figure out for the longest time what it was. She's not all that interested in training in martial arts. I've gone all over this city and haven't really found a new school that I want to join, so that we could both start at the beginning together and that sort of stuff. So what were we going to do? And oddly enough, we ended up choosing bowling. And I didn't think that this would be fun at all. This is one part of my point. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this. But the group of people that we met and getting to do this activity, with my wife, we had never bowled together before. I hadn't held a bowling ball in at least a decade. I think I've only bowled one time prior to joining this bowling club. I'd only bowled one time the entire time I've been in Korea, and I can't even remember the last time I bowled before I went to Korea. So, bowling was pretty new. So we started this new activity together, and we religiously went every, Saturday. And also during that period, I bought oatmeal. And you're probably wondering, what do bowling and oatmeal have in common with each other? Well, I suppose not a lot, except that to bowl, there are skills involved, controlling the ball, even choosing the ball, the way that you're holding the ball at that particular moment, delivery, posture, speed, force, angle of attack. All of these things are skills. And making oatmeal, it turns out, is actually a skill as simple and fast as it is. I didn't really think that my understanding of making a bowl of oatmeal would grow over time. And I didn't really expect my skill as a bowler to change very much over time. And yet, with conscious application of lessons I was learning simply by observation, separate from the instruction I was receiving from better, more experienced bowlers, and separate from the instructions on the back of the oatmeal package and my memories of making oatmeal as a child, there were benefits to practice. Any skill that we have, whether it's sword work or boxing or jogging or making oatmeal or sending a bowl down the lane, we can get better with practice. But we also start to see more of what the thing is. There's more to making a bowl of oatmeal than just following the steps, right? And maybe the particular measurements need to change a little bit for your region, your altitude, the material you have to go along with it. You know, I could, if I were in Canada, choose the milk that I use when I make my oatmeal by the, percent of fat that's involved. I can't do that, at least not very easily, living in Korea. It's not a part of the labeling function. I have to pick every container up and read them, which is, not a whole lot of fun. So with this practice, the oatmeal is getting better. My understanding of what good oatmeal is getting better, and my understanding of what I want out of a bowl of oatmeal is getting better. And the same is happening in bowling. How exactly do I want to address delivering the ball? And if I get into a position where I can consistently send the ball down the lane to where I want it to go, what do I want to change about that? What is it actually possible to change about that? And where in the array of pins do I want to hit at a given time? And so on and so forth. My awareness of what it's even possible to do, both with the oatmeal and with the bowling, is changing every time that I go. And the more I think about it, and the more I expose myself to other people's opinions and information and training about it, not so much on the oatmeal end, but the bigger my perspective on it is getting. And I can't even imagine how I'm going to feel about bowling a year from now. If we consistently go every week and we continue to get tips and pointers, we continue to pay attention, we continue to be interested in it, our understanding of what we can do as bowlers and our consistency at achieving higher score or better control, all of this is going to change significantly over this first year. I've seen this happen before with other skills. This happens with language training. This happens with the martial arts. This happens in music, and so on and so forth. First, we just learn to do the thing, and then we start to become better at the thing, and then we get tips and pointers both from our own observations and externally, and significantly improve at aspects of the thing. And then through practice we start to synthesize these improvements into real skill that is ours. And then once we've developed that skill and continue to practice, we learn how to see the thing that we are doing with different eyes. We see more depth. We see more opportunities to learn. We find new areas where we can develop skill. And we have a completely different perspective on what being a beginner is and what being skilled is. And we start to be able to see things that were hidden from us before. Right? Role-playing is no different from this, and the conversation is dependent on being aware that there's a lot more out there than maybe you've been exposed to yet. In a lot of different directions. You might be highly skilled in one particular lineage of gaming, and yet have zero exposure in other lineages or pathways to gaming, and not have the language or the perspective to even really see what's happening there, or even be aware that you might like it. I tell you, that first bowl of oatmeal, I was thinking, what am I doing? Like, why? Of course, the reason was I was very, very sick, and it's pretty much the only thing I thought I could keep down. Turns out I enjoyed it, and I've been eating the oatmeal, this terrible gray gloppy stuff, pretty much every day since, going out of my way to get it from the store. So we might surprise ourselves with the things that we don't like. And recently I've decided to investigate Spiona. I did a video about it recently, a book by Ron Edwards about an espionage game. This is definitely not my cup of tea, and yet the way that he has explained how to play it has removed a lot of the barriers to entry to me for wanting to play it. Right? I actually want to try and put these mechanics into motion to see what comes out of it, and to enjoy the conversation around the table about the lives of these spies. I think that will appeal to me. So he gave me that starting spark of interest, like, well, let's try bowling, or maybe a bowl of oatmeal. Things I never would have expected to enjoy, I'm now figuring out after my own explorations into unusual things from my perspective and the insight of others who've made the journey before me. So that's my video response to the current condition of the conversation. I'm really glad that more and more people, that's spreading out. More and more people are talking about gaming, and figuring out that we have to get not on the same page. We have to recognize that there are other pages and be willing to flip back and forth, and recognize in the ears and words of our counterparts in the conversation when they have shifted from one meaning to another meaning, when story in one sentence means one thing and in another sentence means another, and we're so excited to be communicating with someone who's actually listening for a change that we lose control over our words. Such things are possible. So anyway, 2016 is coming to a close. It's been an interesting year, and conversations throughout what calls itself the RPG Brigade are, from my perspective, growing much more interesting than they've been in a while. And they're going back to an earlier period where it was okay to talk about what we liked and why we liked it and what we're going to do next, and engage with other people so that our sphere of influence, our sphere of understanding, our sphere of enjoyment could continually expand, and we could in many ways continue to practice understanding, practice learning, practice talking about, practice sharing this hobby that we all love.